joined by Louw from the Free Market Foundation. Leon, have you had an opportunity to listen to what both ministers, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and Zweli Mkhize, said before the NCOP today on the issue of cigarettes?
Yes, and you know, my problem is that it causes so much laughter that I need a respirator. There is no evidence whatever that banning tobacco sales will have any positive effect at all. On the contrary, there's a lot of evidence that it would be counterproductive and negative. That is why virtually no other countries in the world have suspended or banned tobacco sales. And if it were true, then you would ban smoking, not tobacco sales. In other words, to allow people who happen to have stocked up before the lockdown to smoke, as if somehow the virus knows when people bought their cigarettes. I mean, it's completely ludicrous. And now we even have this even more ludicrous, obviously ludicrous idea that people should have receipts showing when they bought their cigarettes. Now, the majority of South Africans, which these ministers seem to have forgotten, live in low-income areas where they buy from spazas and tuck shops and informal traders, none of whom issue receipts for anything and actually can't do it. And even if they do get a receipt from, for example, a supermarket, it doesn't itemize tobacco. So my advice to smokers, I'm not one, I'm a lifelong non-smoker, also a teetotal, I live a very healthy life. But my advice to smokers is just find some old receipt, any old receipt, flash it around if some idiotic police person asks you for proof of when you bought your cigarettes, and say, here's my receipt. What are they going to do? How will they know the difference? They can't know. This is something which is done without any thought whatsoever. Either the big issue, banning, no thought has been given to what benefits it might have. It will definitely have lots of disadvantages. The reason people smoke is very simple. They get substantial psychological, emotional, and even physical benefits. It combats depression, it combats loneliness, it combats social insecurity, combats eating and drinking disorders, combats lack of concentration, stress. So these people are being victimized into terrible psychological and emotional stress, and that itself causes physical harm. So there is a lot of evidence to believe the ban on smoking, or the ban on, there's no ban on smoking, let's be clear about that. And if smoking had anything to do with it, then they would ban smoking. There's a ban on selling cigarettes. So, and then there's a ban on smoking cigarettes that are new, and you're allowed to smoke ones that are old. I wonder if they told the virus, if they've got some special hotline to the virus saying, you know, please affect only people who bought cigarettes on the black market, the illegal market, the illicit market, which is already well over a third of the total.
Leon, well, when we listen to part of what the minister said today, it's that their considerations around tobacco had been informed by whether or not they would allow those that work in the sector to come back to work as part of essential services workers. And I wonder, when it comes to that strain then of the argument, if it makes more sense.
Well, I've never smoked, but I think for smokers, getting their tobacco fix is an essential service. I would be very surprised if anyone disagrees with that. You do not, for somebody who is supposedly addicted or dependent on something, simply arbitrarily overnight discontinue their access to it. That is cruel and inhumane. And that argument bears no water, because what you do is, the sensible thing to do is to get people to operate safely, to wear masks and gloves and sanitizer and social distance, but to stop manufacturing, causing billions of rands of loss to the South African Treasury, billions of rands of loss to retailers, big and small, billions of rand to wholesalers, transport operators, the tobacco industry itself. The entire value chain, farmers, have been impacted by this in a way that is completely cruel and inhumane. I cannot believe that anybody who's thought about it for 1 second can take it seriously.